to inspection, the person looking says there's no way that they'll even pass.
Okay.
And it's because of couplings. And the estimate for replacing that and reserve 4-inch hose is in the neighborhood of 20,000.
Replace and reserve.
The reserve is what we have as a backup.
So you need a certain amount and then the reserve is extra just in case. And the number for that is?
Number is at least
The
20,000.
estimate on that was 20,000.
20,000?
So to be a little bit clearer on that one, again, like you said, we have all this stuff tested on a every other year basis. So the tanker was outfitted with the old hose from our previous tanker.
Mhm.
So our hose was from 1987. So they do not
Good.
have locks on the couplings, and it is no longer meets standards.
Sure.
So we can't use it.
Makes sense. Okay. Not a problem.
And they actually told us that
If they
if they touched it, the people doing the testing, if they touched it, they would have to pull every bit of it off the truck and say, you're not allowed to put it back.
Right. Good plan.
So they
Good.
basically said, we're pretending we don't see this, take it home and
Yep.
take care of it there.
Totally fine. Just wondered what the number,
Yep.
why it went from A to B. Gear?
Gear is always a situation that involves a ton of money, right? Just always upgrading and always replacing old PPE. The average for a person, one gear for just a person to be protected is approximately $5,000. So
You're always turning stuff over and it
Always
looks
turning
like you
stuff
spent
over.
6,
It
then
it
6.
has a lifespan where it becomes outdated.
And so 4 people's is outdated is basically where we're at.
Every 10 years, and we have
Try
all
to
turn out
rotate it
rotation.
out so that we're not all of a sudden saying, oh gee, we need 100,000 for gear.
No worries. Appeal letter 2,000, I mean, makes sense. Training 2,000 makes sense. Professional services 0 to 15,000.
okay, so what happened is in a flood, we lost a lot of records.
Mhm.
And in attempts at trying to bring all our books up to snuff, there were just some gaps. And then what we needed was really some professional help. So we were fortunate enough to have an accountant volunteer their time. Well, when an accountant volunteers their time and then it gets to crunch time,
Mhm.
you're at the back of the line.
Oh,
So it wasn't a reliable situation. And I believe, and Josh, you have the numbers on that, but once you go over, was it $50,000? And you can explain,
in
it
receipts.
gets
Yep.
much more complicated in
You
terms
actually
of
file. Yep.
what has to be done. So we hired an accountant. That's a big chunk of
15,000 per year. Yeah.
When did you hire the accountant?
Just in December.
Okay, and the 5,000 that you budgeted in 24, you didn't spend.
So professional services can be a range of things. It's more outside help, whatever we need. If we have 5,000 in the budget and this lady is gonna cost roughly 12,000 annually, depending on, again, you're talking hourly, that can change. It's all billed hourly. And the preparation for taxes is usually a set price, but we don't know exactly what it can cost. We know an hourly number. And again, trying to add up a number and not leave us behind, this is the number that was generated.
You just said something, preparation for taxes. Department don't pay taxes.
Still have to file.
Still have to file. So it's not a postcard anymore.
Right.
Because you went over the 50.
And again, not everybody on our department is trained to keep all these numbers correct. Not that we have a ton of numbers. So we keep good books and good records of receipts and things that go out the door. And then this information gets reconciled and compiled by our accountant. And it's also a way that we almost audit ourselves because
I think what Jim was saying was in 2024, you budgeted 5,000, you spent nothing. So technically you should still have that 5,000 is basically, that's how these budgeting and operational budgets kind of work. If you don't spend it, you still have it. I don't know if you do or don't, that's neither here nor there, but you're telling us that 15,000 is the number for your accountant.
It's not just for the accountant.
No,
Yeah,
not
and
just.
any legal, outside legal,
Mhm.
input that we need, that would cost too.
Legal,
So again,
et
it's
cetera.
just, and again, moving forward, just being aware of anything that may just arise and just making sure that everybody's covered.
Perfect. Fundraising expense?
Alright. That would be, if I got it right, that's the, we're
10,000?
looking at one big item to buy and then raffle off. And that would be
No,
full. Am I wrong on that one?
our fundraising expense, again, this is something that has gotten to be, new for the last couple of years as we've been getting more involved with Christmas in Weston. And also improving our profit and loss sheets where we don't have our numbers from Christmas in Weston yet this year. So we plan on having a $10,000 output to then turn around to make our input greater than that, right? So.
I hope.
Well, that's the idea. Yeah,
That's
we've
the
been
hope.
successful with that so far. So if we're gonna continue to do this, we had to add another line item of fundraising expenses. So that as we actually move forward with this, we will have an income
Sure.
on fundraising
Understood.
side as well.
Also, since there was not a single date on here anywhere, we had no idea. You spent $6,200 in fundraiser, but you have no income from it. So it looks like you spent $6,200 to have a fundraiser and you made no money.
Right.
I don't believe that to be true. Again, we assume this was 12/31/24, which would have been, should have included.
To have this done early.
So I understand the ask for the 10. Again, it's just the 62 went out, nothing came in. And then you ask for 10 to go back out again. Again, now that I know it's 11:30, there was no Christmas in Weston before November 30th. So
When we did our last four-wheeler, it was a pretty good revenue generator for us. And even the little giveaways we do for Christmas in Weston is actually.
Yeah.
Fares out pretty well.
there's no number. It says 0.
No, I understand that.
Okay. Okay. And last but not least, 5,000 for other. I don't even think we need to talk about other. Let's jump back up to the top, Leo. So in 2023, you asked for 37, 2024, you asked for 46. This year you're going in for 110. And I guess basically what you're saying is you just guesstimated a whole bunch of stuff in expense and
Well-
tried to offset that
Well,
as an appropriate.
there's two major expenses, and that's the roof, and that's the codes. And those have to be done.
Mhm, okay.
Because we're moving into a more dangerous situation. The hose
Get
that's where our big water comes.
Sure.
And secondly, old holes like that, if they go, somebody's gonna get hurt, and it's gonna be one of us.
Yeah,
And-
no. That's, you don't have to justify a hose at all. Let's scroll down, interest and dividends, obviously that's fine. Membership dues, get that. Donations. So you did really well in donations this year. And so you kind of came in at 20, which I think is just a rough ballpark. Other
Yeah,
fundraiser.
Yeah, donations,
19,
we have to
2023, so-
guesstimate on those.
Mhm. So other fundraiser, you propose that you'd make 10 grand. There's no number because I'm assuming Christmas in Weston. And it looks like Christmas in Weston was your only fundraiser for 2024.
I think it was.
Yay.
yes.
Okay. So you anticipate 23,000. Is that a realistic number or is that just, you anticipate with this fundraiser, you're gonna,
Not just Christmas in Weston. We're
But the
looking to
other-
do another four-wheeler.
Yeah.
If we put 10,000 in, we can sell about 1,000 tickets.
yeah,
If we sell every ticket, we stand to make $25,000. Again, you can lessen that if you do a package deal of 5 tickets for $100.
Mhm.
So you're a little bit under that.
Okay.
Plus with other small raffle information, this is where we think we can hit.
Okay. And obviously grants, if you get them, they're great. There's no way to predict whether they'll come in, and if they do come in, whether they'll come in the year that you hope they come in. So
Right.
we'll skip that.
That also is under professional services, just to be clear, grant writers and things like that. There's multitude of things that could fall under a line item like that.
And then the last thing is other. You took in 51,942 under other. Can you explain
All
that?
fun stuff.
Yeah, what, I'd like to know why it dropped $150,000 from 23. And why, just was there a donation in there?
Yes.
Okay, and why wasn't that under donations?
It's we have a fund there in our account balances. That's where that information falls in. And I'm not a treasurer in account.
Yeah.
So I can.
So,
tell you why it's in there.
Back to the 51 that you took in 2024. What did that encompass? Was that money that the town already gave you?
The 51. The town appropriation. So
That's
not in there.
Yep, right.
That number, again, I do
The
not
town
know.
appropriations right at the top.
Yeah, no, he said it's not.
Was compiled into that because of all the numbers that were coming in from flood money. So I don't know how they categorize some of the money that came in that
Right.
way. This is again why we hired an accountant.
Who gave you money for flood stuff? I think the town gave you some money for flood stuff,
And
which,
again, I don't know
probably.
if that's other donations that come in through that because it was earmarked for flood resilience, not just straight donation. I don't know how they compiled that section.
That one thing, we'd have to go back to the treasurer and the accountant, find out
And
Yeah.
why that was listed the way it was.
Mhm, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would help me. And the other thing is, are any of these funds that are listed in the balance sheet here, balance sheet, you have no liabilities. Are any of those restricted funds? In other words, you can only spend the interest, not the principal?
all our money markets, the Simon's Fund, Brewing and Johnson Fund,
So
historically were the only ones that I know that were.
you have access to the bottom piece of this that wasn't sent to the town. None of us got the bottom. So the funds are on your sheet, but they're not on our sheet.
Air Pack Fund.
You've seen this.
Air Pack Fund is, again, some of these are very self-explanatory.
No, it's the second page.
Yeah, that was-
Okay, got it.
That was in.
Got it. Yes, I'm using the one that was submitted to the town for
Oh,
appropriations.
right.
So I'm assuming you put the 200,000, the gift, into a fund, or is it just kind of in?
Yes, it's essentially earning us
It's in your,
money
it's doing very well for you
And-
from the looks of things.
But
The hope is that if possible, any bequeathments like that are put into a hopefully high interest bearing fund of some sort, to help us to offset what we have to ask for. Rather than spending that money to begin with, and then after, a couple of years or three, 4 years, coming back and saying, all of a sudden, we've got to start jumping this up again, where if we can earn a few thousand each year off it and have that be able to knock off what we have to ask for from the town.
Okay, I appreciate you guys coming in and explaining this, because this looked like a hot mess when we got it. And I didn't know how to justify it. I didn't even know how to explain it. So I appreciate y'all coming in to explain this. I want to leave you with one thing. When the deal was made that the town was going to take over the building, there was an agreement that we would insure the building and those couple of items, but the maintenance was on the fire department. So for years, maintenance was done by the fire department. Now there's a roof issue. And I'm not saying you didn't do maintenance or that there isn't help for you with the maintenance, but that was the history. That was historical, that the building was owned by the town and that the maintenance was done by the fire department. I don't know to what degree, if it was over 5,000, below 5,000. So I just want to kind of go back to, we didn't know you needed a roof. So when the roof issue has now popped up, it's a big thing, right? So that's kind of where I had no idea that there was a hole in the roof. I just found out yesterday that you guys have a hole in the roof. New news.
Not holes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's not daylight.
No. So-
Maintenance in that.
Perfect. Hole in the roof, you would maintenance. I understand. I just wanted to kind of point out that this is new news to us. The hose thing, I get, you have to turn that stuff over. And if it was just the hose this year, it'd be 320 on to the 46, we wouldn't even be having the discussion. But the roof plus the hose, plus the extras has sort of, we can't get it through. We can't get it through the way that you've presented it. So now we have to go back and sort of try to figure out how to help you with the things that you need, but make the appropriation within the reasonable limits that we're allowed to for the ask of the town. So I appreciate you coming
What
in.
are the considered reasonable limits?
Well, when you go more than double, Brian, that's a little excessive, and several times Wayne has struck it down, and what we're thinking is, all right, this is just quick thinking.
Yeah.
All right. We'll put your yearly budget in plus a little, and then we'll do a line item in the warning for the balance. And then it can be explained about the roof and the hose and how it adds up. So it won't take your budget and throw it all in there and have it get thrown out.
And it's more visible to the town, and it also then commits those funds specifically to a cause instead of, an extra
So are
20
you,
grand into
are you
something.
possibly suggesting that if we, just for numbers, say for the last 5 years, our budget was exactly $50,000 per year. Are you suggesting that rather than, okay, now we have a problem, we've got to jump it from 50 to 100, that for those last 5 years, we should have been asking 60 and taking that extra 10 and putting it in reserve so that when we have a sudden $50,000 layout, we have that money? Is that a better way to go about it?
I'm not sure it's a better way to go about it, but I'm pretty sure that doing this line item, that it will, go through.
Yeah.
All the years been around, never known them say no to the fire department. It's just a procedural
Right.
thing to
But I mean, would that-
maneuver around.
do you think that would go over better?
So I guess where we're looking at is we sit down and we mull over this budget, not your budget, the budget.
Yeah.
And when we take into account the fact that insurance has gone up 20%, and we have all the same maintenance issues you guys have.
Mhm.
And when we go in front of the voters and we've upped the budget $500,000 and you're 60 or 70 of it, and the next entity 60 or 70 of it, it doesn't sit well. And so we're scrambling, thinking, where can we cut so that we can help make everybody get what they need? So our solution was kind of in processing this was bring the appropriation back down to a reasonable number. And if we can somehow one line item help you with the two biggies. Once we do the roof, 25 years, it'll be some other select board's problem. Okay, and the hose, I don't, Denny
Yeah,
maybe.
you guys are all gonna be here, but we're not.
We're not gonna be here. And the same thing with the hose, you know, I mean, the whole, the hope is that the hose will outlast, you know,
Yeah.
any of this. So these are two big, they're called capital items, and they shouldn't be just in the everyday appropriations. So what we'd like to do is just move some stuff around to try and help you with the two things that I clearly see that
Do
you
you
need.
think it would have gone better if we had separated those two things out?
Yes, and
Okay, is that essentially what you're saying you're going to do?
I think that's what we're gonna talk
Yeah,
about
okay,
doing right now.
We could have
Separate
separated
article.
that out.
Right,
We need a new roof, $30,000, rather than adding it into
Right.
building maintenance.
or,
'Cause
well,
that
adding
seems
it
like a
in,
lot of maintenance.
the-
Yeah.
We need to get it into the budget. What we don't want it to do is to go into appropriations
So
because,
moving forward, if we're generating our letter and you guys aren't at the station all the time, we
Yep.
need to come up with this money for these things to
Mhm.
maintain this. If we have an up to, again, these two items are $50,000, so we're under $70,000 in terms of a normal appropriation, if you take out that other 50,000, right?
we've figured 46 plus 10% seems to be your history of how your ask goes. So we did not know about the roof and we did not know about the hose. And your letter did not say roof or hose. So we were just thrown off. That's all. We were just simply thrown off. So I would like to help you with the roof and the hose. I think everybody here has said it's a no-brainer.
Okay.
What we don't want to see is a 140% increase.
We
in the
we just
appropriation.
would like to know
Again,
the best way to go about it
Sure.
come next
Sure.
year, if there's a different,
Next November
you
30th,
know,
put me on your calendar. I'll come over and help
come over
you.
and go through the budget meeting with us.
Yeah, happy to help you, like with whatever, but
Great.
These
Just so
didn't
we
these
Can-
didn't
can
make sense because they're
make
so
things go
off
through
from
correctly.
prior years. An explanation goes a long way. I did not know that you were planning for your own insurance. I did not know that there was some other things in here. So the meeting tonight has gone way over. However, we wanted an opportunity to hear why, because the letter did not say either one of those very important things. So we want to help you with them. Just needed to know about it.
And we're also having to deal with how we're gonna handle shock therapy. No, I'm serious. You guys
I
can
believe
laugh.
it.
I hear you.
I believe it.
No, because the reappraisal's gonna take effect this year.
Get ready.
And Kelly backed me up.
Kelly's in a different capacity now.
I said a couple of years ago, and she said, I wasn't far from right. You take, for example, a $300,000 property and it goes to 400. The town rate is not gonna get affected, but you're gonna pay $1,000 more to the state.
Well, again, I think we're also looking for guidance. Again, with this type of information,
Perfect,
if we don't know,
perfect.
again, we have a page to write for our letter, right?
Nobody is faulting this document. We don't understand it. That's as simple as it is. And the letter didn't say,
We just want to have better communication with you guys.
Right.
And
We
help
want
you
to,
to
Right
make it
here.
understandable.
So
Right
the
here.
guys that are writing the letters and
Yep.
things like that, we are
so
interested in knowing.
no worries whatsoever. The last topic I'm gonna bring up is FEMA, your favorite topic. So, Jennifer mentioned that you did not receive any funds from FEMA as of the day before yesterday. I want to know if the fire department has received any funds from Vermont Emergency Management or FEMA.
Not yet, but we just, Fred has been
Yeah.
the one in charge of all of that. He just emailed yesterday or 2 days
It's
ago.
today.
Today, that was the,
So, yeah.
That we received information from the state saying that
It's the final signature.
there was a final signature and something to do with a time
Sure.
extension.
You don't have to do
we
the
didn't have to do
extension.
And we did not have to do
Right.
that, so they sent back an email to him and said, okay, if you give us this final signature, it signals the release of the funds that are due you.
Correct.
So
Do we have any
as
idea
of
what
today,
those are?
we have.
So what happened is yesterday Jennifer told me that you guys had not received a dime from FEMA. And I used FEMA because that's the
Yeah.
entity.
Yeah.
So I made a bunch of phone calls today and I found out that there was a document that was not signed. Number one, they didn't know that your project was complete, which is had all the contents that you were asking for reimbursement been purchased and was it done? That had not been written off as 100% complete. And number two, it requires a signature to say, yes, please bring the money.
And that happened
So
today.
within an hour, Vermont Emergency Management, led by the FEMA team, sent the document to Fred, and I did see that he signed it. And you guys are not only going to get the 75% that you asked for, you are receiving 90% of your allotted. Remember, there was a number,
Mhm.
okay? And I think you thought you were getting 25, and I believe the number is now maybe 35-ish.
30, so our full was 36.
There you go.
We were supposed to get like
25, yep, 25 and change, yep. And that's a 75%, Josh, but the state did make an amendment and they did up it to 90%. And I saw in the document that they will reimburse you at 90%. So it's signed. You will get a check soon, which will help you pay for some of those things that you've discussed here today. So
Yeah, we've also paid a lot out of pocket of what we had.
so have I. So have we.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm talking like everybody's similar.
Yep. So basically everything that came in for insurance was allotted back out to the fire department. It doesn't go directly to you in your checkbook. It went to your mold remediation, which was paid in full. It went to that cascade thing you were just talking about. It went toward materials for your building. And we also paid 14,000, give or take, in electrical and plumbing. So insurance only covered.
I told Jen that we didn't have the numbers from you and we weren't communicating. So
Yeah.
we didn't really know where that.
Yeah.
And we kind of knew that was going to all be paid back. So we knew that wasn't going to actually come to us.
Right. No, you were
But in
good.
terms of
When
our
I did not
file.
process that you had not received any funds from FEMA or through Vermont Emergency Management. So again, doesn't matter. We made a couple of phone calls and lo and behold, it was one little signature away from being complete. So you will get another chunk of money, which is yours to do the contents that you filed for. So whatever that means to you guys. Thanks,
Alrighty.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leo. Can I have everybody sign in, please? Oh, here, try this
There's
one.
pencils.
Oh, there you go.
Road foreman won't be here, so we're down to changes for the agenda.
Just slide behind you, Howie. And don't you dare hide in the corner.
Okay,
Okay. Think we have enough now? Three?
all right, let's see, agenda number 5 is delinquent tax collector.
Yeah.
Appears that we have 3 people interested. Something very unusual. So I guess, we'll take comments from each one and questions. And then, at the end of the meeting, the board will go into executive session and try and make a decision. So,
I don't know who everybody is, so. Perfect. Okay. That's what I was wondering.
No.
Okay. And Kim, got it. Okay, perfect.
Linda,
Jeff, is it? Okay, fantastic. And obviously Linda, hi.
so, we'll start with, Jeff.
All right. Jeff Seymour. I've been resident of Weston for the last 22 years now. Got 47 years of business experience, the last 21. The owner and operator of our former business, the Colonial House. My name's Tim. Prior to that, I was in the hospitality industry in various management roles, with an emphasis in contract negotiations, licensing, within the franchise hotel portion of the industry. And then hotel management for predominantly the rest of that. I have a strong background in accounting, interpersonal people skills, obviously being in the hospitality industry, and an excellent understanding of computers and technology. And I'm very interested in the position, and I certainly hope you'll consider me for it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Linda?
Hi there, Linda Crandall. Been a resident of Weston for over 30 years, let's say. My employment background, I worked for the Vermont Country Store for over 35 years in merchandising and e-commerce management. I transitioned from there to Boot Pro in Ludlow, managed their website for 3 years, and currently working for Consumers Relocation as a move consultant. I'm sorry, lost my voice. So I do work with, I consider myself someone that has attention to detail and accuracy. I communicate clearly and professionally, and I have a good sense of confidentiality and private and professionally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kim?
So my name's Kim Dunda. I've been a resident of Weston for 15 years. I spend most of my time at my father's, which is on Land Grove Road in Weston, helping him. I do have a lot of banking experience, approximately 20 some years. I believe it's all listed in my resume that I provided you. So I, in lending and commercial consumer, branch experience, very customer oriented, problem solving. Once I moved to Vermont, I continued to work for the bank, and then I did leave the bank and worked for the Vermont Country Store, where I currently still work, working with customers on the floor. I'm also doing all the cash deposits and the daily drawers and settling the drawers and doing the deposits. And then I previously, in my previous life in New Jersey, my parents and I owned a restaurant for 10 years. So very acclimated to dealing with the front of the house, the back of the house, dealing with customers, difficult customers. You know,
Difficult customers. That's the name of this game.
Right? So, so I do currently work for Consumers Relocation with Linda, who neither one of us knew were calling today.
Surprise.
Well, fancy
So
meeting you.
confidentiality is.
Yeah, no kidding. An office of 3 and neither one of us knew.
You guys are good. You're good.
So, and I've been there a little longer than Linda. So I like to think that we complement each other anyway in our daily workload, but, working as a move consultant, handling difficult customers. So that's where I currently work today. So I do work, part-time at the country store and also at the consumer's relocation.
Do you guys have any questions for the board or even for Kim, who has been generously helping us fill this void while Morgan, when Morgan resigned? So Kim has sort of jumped in to help us at the worst possible time of the year.
Yeah.
So we apologize for that. Do you guys have any questions?
So I did want to, Denny had given me some information, very, high level on the process.
Mhm.
And I, would, if considered, I definitely would, it doesn't have to be now, but I definitely would like to, speak to somebody to go through the process a little more detail. But from what I understand, you're given a list in November. Is that correct? Of delinquent tax?
October.
October.
I'm required to give you 15 days after the closing of
Okay.
our tax.
In October, okay. And then as far as that, drafting letters, communication, that's pretty much all that I know.
Okay, a lot of it does come through the computerized software
Mhm.
system, NEMRIC. So you go in and you can generate the delinquent notices and it calculates the interest penalty and whatever. And whoever is selected, there are currently 2 payments that need processed, so you're welcome to come in as soon as they say yay. But it's a lot of it is accuracy, it is diligence, and it's follow-up. And one thing that I have found helpful is when someone's available, when we have an upset person, that we can get them to quickly, as opposed to having to maybe wait until after business hours. And that's just, not always possible, but it has been helpful in prior years. The list is generated based on who hasn't paid by October, whatever. And then you have, as a collector of delinquent taxes, the process to go through. There are FAQs through the list of support in NEMRIC. There's a 100-page manual over there. I'm sure everyone would like to read tonight. There are new regulations that were just legislated in the past year that may have to be tied into our existing delinquent tax code or policy. And that individual also has the potential for taking properties to tax sale. And I know that had been recommended on at least one with the prior collector. So it's very cut and dried, but it does require the follow-up and the processing. So
Is there any of you that would not be willing to step out of your regular job for 15 minutes at lunchtime to return a call to a resident or someone that has a question or concern?
No.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, and that's helpful, especially like a few days.
Right.
They're upset.
Anybody else got any
Any-
questions for?
I do not.
We thank you for your information, and like I said, we've got put an agenda here, so we will save going into executive session till we get everything else taken care of, and maybe we can make a decision tonight. Maybe we'll have to chew on it some more. I can't say.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you guys for
Thank you.
coming in. I
Thanks so
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Kim.
Okay, number 6.
Marco.
Hi.
Hold on, let me get my.
Too big.
We're gonna talk to Shauna about that later.
I'm not, yeah. No,
Once in a while, she gives us a really good, nice light one, so we expect that. And so when a 14-item agenda rolls through, we We have to give her a little guff. We give her a little guff.
Well,
Okay.
hopefully this one won't be a long one. I
You're
just wanted to provide some information to you all. So the state of Vermont helps communities support getting stormwater master plans completed. And the process is free to towns and is paid for. The state contracts with a contractor to do the stormwater master plan. And the only expectations on the town is that you meet with the contractor a few times and have someone on, like a road foreman or something, maybe do a site tour around a few places around town. But there's no monetary commitments from a town. So stormwater master plans, we usually think of them as, better for urbanized areas. But for rural areas as well, they are a great first step to identifying where there might be some concerns from water. Stormwater is really any unwanted water that pools or runs off of surfaces and into like streams, or causes water quality problems, causes erosion. It can cause a lot of different issues. So this program is really different. I actually just talked about this earlier with another town where it's very different than the stormwater, the road
Erosion.
the stream, the roadside ditching, the
Wow.
MRGP. Thank you. I forgot those
Well,
initials.
Is it also different than the July flood?
Flood abatement.
Yes.
Okay,
So-
because,
I know you all.
our heads are so full of, or my head is.
Yeah.
Water.
anyway, So full of storm water and flooding and,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, where have you been for the last 18 months? But
Yeah. It's so.
I'm sure that you're talking about something different, so help me
Yeah.
understand.
So stormwater master planning, it's very different than flood remediation. It's very different from everything, all the hardships that you all have been having with water. It's really looking at where water is coming off of paved surfaces or unpaved surfaces and potentially causing, again, erosion issues or other water quality, trash getting into rivers.
Or just pooling up
Or
and
just pooling up,
being a
but
problem.
not due to flooding.
Right.
If that makes sense. So it is a different type of thing. What the stormwater master plans do is they identify projects. So that is the goal of a stormwater master plan. It is not a regulatory document. It's not something that will come back to you and say, the state will say, you have to do this.
Right.
It's hey, here's a chance to maybe get ahead of some issues that might come up later. And so, for example, what they do is they will go through the town, they'll ask you all questions about where do you see some problems? Are there things that you have concerns about? They'll also do sort of what they call a desktop review. And then from that, they'll ask to get a tour around at some of these locations to get more of an on ground. And then once they have all that put together, they come back to you all and say, out of all these 15 projects, which ones are your highest priority, or which ones make the most sense to maybe move forward to get 30% designs? So 3 of the projects end up getting 30% designs. And again, after that, once you have the plan, there's no obligation to go any further.
What's a 30% design?
So kind of
Enough to do a cost estimate on it?
not enough to do a cost estimate.
Right.
And it's more of a conceptual, it's not detailed, you couldn't go out and construct it.
Mhm.
And they might bring, depending on the site, they might do an alternatives, to get to that 30%. And but once the stormwater master plan has those projects listed, in the future, through the ANR, so, and Department of Environmental Conservation, you're kind of higher up on a list for getting funding to
money
maybe
comes
help
available.
get those clean water funding to help with those projects.
Is there a prerequisite for grants
It's
and
not a
funding?
prerequisite, but it's highly encouraged.
Where did this come?
Sounds very
I found that
governmental.
What happens,
I thought it was part of your presentation.
Oh,
so-
what happens when there's a conflict between you and, like this stone line ditching stuff? Because you're talking about water runoff.
Yeah.
And if I understand some of the stuff that's required of the roads correctly in the summertime, used to be get the water off the road as quick as possible.
Right.
But now, if I'm understanding it correctly, they kind of want the roads graded flat. So that means on a steep hill, it's gonna come from the top
Right.
down to the bottom. And it's gonna wash rivets in the dirt road, and it's gonna pick up soil, sand and gravel all the way down through. So I can see a conflict there, because the old way of doing it, getting it off the road quick, put it in the ditches and the stone line would pick it up, but now they've changed the rules or recommend it. And
So I think
so
we-
which way do you go here? And
Yeah.
is there gonna be a mediator to mediate
That's a good
conflicts?
question. I think they're not trying to overlap with the MRGP. So they're gonna look at maybe other, other places. So it might be private or public lands. And it might be, I'm trying to think of projects, okay, let's see, Jacksonville, mostly.
So we're talking like replacing catch basins or creating a catch
Yeah,
basin
or maybe a
situation
rain
or.
garden would be a good small solution to alleviate, runoff of a parking lot or something like that.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily about fixing and remediating the culverts and the roads. It might involve that, but it's more, I think, from structures and other impervious surfaces like big parking lots.
Yeah, I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around
Yeah.
in our rural environment here where,
Yeah, what is MRG?
where it's different than what we're
That's-
already doing in other areas, but
That's the program
how
that
about the
well,
silting up
the
of
grants
ponds
and
and
aid.
things like that?
funds
Oh,
for
oh.
Jeff
Is that
to
an
do
example?
ditching and
Right, okay.
fixing culverts and things of that nature.
So, did you get your MRGP?
No,
question
but
answered?
it has to, they issue grants, right?
So that's V-Trans.
Yeah.
And that is the municipal roads general permit.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So many acronyms.
So many.
And yeah, so that's really V-Trans, that program is really focused on clean water through the road system. And so, let me just.
And including private structures
It can include private.
or
structures,
private property?
Private property,
Um,
of course, and this is more just identification of projects, right? It's not saying, because you may not have a willing landowner who wants to go forward with a project, right? That during implementation, way down the road, not related to this, somebody would have to say, yeah, I want to get this done on my land. And
So you're willing to donate some of your time to go around with either the road foreman or a member of the select board and just sort of look at different things within the
so
town?
it's actually not
No, I don't.
Wyndham Regional, and it's not
Okay.
me.
I don't mean you personally.
It's a
Sorry.
consultant, right?
But it's a consultant.
Yeah.
So it
Right,
might be
okay.
someone like Watersheds Consulting, they
Mhm,
do a lot
okay.
of stormwater master plans, and a couple others do too.
They take their time to help us identify things that we might have missed or don't know that could
Yeah.
potentially be a problem. Okay.
And one thing that's interesting, and it may or may not apply to anything in Weston. So in the Champlain and Memphremagog water basins, right now they have what's called the 3-acre permit, which is a stormwater permitting system that says any 3-acre site that has impervious surface of 3 acres or more. So that an impervious surface. can
That's like a
be-
parking lot.
It's like a parking
Yeah.
lot.
Or a
right?
building.
Or a building,
Mhm.
Big building.
roofs.
Warehouse.
So a lot of those were built and constructed prior to the stormwater rulings.
Mhm.
And so now with the 3 acre permit in those 2 water basins is saying is that if you have a site that is that, you will be required to bring it up to the new stormwater rules. So once it becomes regulated, they won't pay for it. But if any site like that is identified in Weston, which I don't know if Weston has any.
Vermont Country Store.
The
parking lot.
country with
Yeah.
the parking lot is.
Parking
dirt,
lot
it's
is
not
dirt, it's okay.
impervious.
Well, dirt counts in this.
Dirt counts?
Oh, dirt counts?
Mhm.
They count that
Holy-
as impervious.
Well, we got
And
more than
dirt
3 acres
counts.
of roads.
Well,
No,
roads
I'm
are
kidding.
different.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a road.
No, it's a single 3 acre
Yeah,
entity that retains water, doesn't perk
yeah.
at
And so
a certain rate,
Mm.
yeah.
in our region, that
P major and
stormwater
stuff.
3 acre rule is gonna come into effect somewhere in early like 2030s, so
Mhm.
2033 about. And at that point, once it becomes regulated, DEC won't pay for any stormwater remediation.
Mhm.
So that's why they're trying to help towns in our region get up to speed and maybe identify where there's some issues.
So that's all this is. We're just identifying.
Just
Then we get a
identify.
piece of paper saying we've identified 10 items,
Yeah.
top 3, someone is willing to do that 30% work on.
Exactly.
And then it's back on the town whether or not we engage to do any of the projects. That's kind of the short version.
That's the short version.
Okay.
And one thing I will say is that once things get into a plan like that, there are a lot of entities that are sort of water quality partners, the Connecticut River Conservancy, Trout Unlimited, we have the Conservation District. They all work with organizations, individuals, or towns to help move some of those projects, and they will become the grant, like, write the grants and manage the grants for organizations. So it's not always on a town afterwards to take a project, unless the town's on town
Wants to
land
do-
and town wants to.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in and explaining it.
Yeah, so, when you all decide if you want to join up or not, just let me know, and I will make sure to get whoever you designate as the contact in touch with the state. Hank Ainley is he works for A&R, he's a stormwater specialist, and I'll get you in touch with him to get on the list. Because right now what they're doing is they're just trying to get a bunch of towns
Yeah.
signed up at the same time to get their projects.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for making the trip over.
Certainly, and yeah, if you have any further questions too, if something comes up, you can call me at Wyndham Regional, give me an email, and I'm happy to answer any further questions if something.
Thank you.
And Hank's last name is spelled Ainley.
Yeah.
Nice.
That is good.
I'm going home.
Yeah,
right
you're
now.
done
That's
now.
it.
You're done. That's all.
Yeah.
So thanks, and let
Thank
me
you.
know, if you all, either way, that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
tell them what you're thinking.
Perfect. Sounds
All
good.
right.
Thank you so much for
I'm gonna
coming.
head out, but have a good rest
Yeah.
of the evening.
You're
Thank you.
welcome to stay.
Welcome to
Just
stay.
saying. It's riveting.
Well, it's all important stuff,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think I will.
Drive safe. Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Kelly,
I will try not to take up too much of your time, and I'm here a little bit earlier in the year than I thought I would be. But as the Flood Resilience Committee has been moving forward with setting up their public engagement meetings about the work that they've been doing, and working with Maggie and UCRD and Mark, who is, I think, is Mark still on the Zoom?
He was.
Yes.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Yeah.
There
Hi,
he
guys.
is.
He's not.
Whoa.
Again.
Almost caught him napping there. Oh, wake up.
Yeah, that was a fun municipal meeting, wasn't it, Mark? But so we have been involved in the conversations leading up to the public engagement meetings in January and February. And as a result of that, we've been starting to think about how the FEMA community assistance team can help in Weston along the way. And so I wanted to come in just to keep lines of communication open and let you know that we're here along the way, and we're starting to take a look at what might be helpful for Weston and what might not be. And so we would like to hear from you about what you think those two things are also. Let us know what you're seeing as something that wouldn't be helpful, and where you feel like the town could really use assistance. And when I say the town, I mean the municipality, but also the whole community. And there may be projects that are not town. I'll identify the community association and the fire department, two of those potentially. So again, don't need to make decisions tonight. Things are all kind of taking shape and coming together. I just, you know, if we don't talk, then things can go sideways real quick.
Is anybody working, now this isn't just for Weston, this is for the whole state.
Oh, well, I may not be able to answer, but go ahead.
Is anybody working on taking these big piles of brush out of the rivers and also removing gravel from the rivers? If you take a trip up Greendale, some awful piles of brush up there. And what I can see happening is in a flood instance, a couple of them break loose and gather up with another one. Then the water backs up. Then all of a sudden they let go. You'll have like a tidal wave coming down through.
Well, that isn't something that our team is working on specifically, because that's if it's a statewide thing that's we are helping in specific towns. If that is the thing that Weston wants to look at for a project that it seems like is important for your community, as conversations go forward about what flood resiliency looks like in Weston, get that on the list. And you know, if that is a priority for you to take a look at, then we will help you take a look at whether that is a permittable and fundable project.
And just,
so I couldn't say what's happening statewide.
So just to recap for anyone that wasn't 100% sure, Kelly's new position.
I know.
Kelly's new position. So basically what Weston would do would be, once we got rid of crazy time, which is usually never, but once things settle down a little bit, we would get together and say, listen, these are some things that we need to do, want to do, or we can start to plan to do. And we involve Kelly's team, and it's not Kelly's team, but Kelly's team. It's Kelly's team and Mark's team and Mark's team. And they would join us to help figure out, what do we need to do? Do we need engineering? They could, tell us how to find that, how to access that. They also can help us with the funding, but we have to do the front-loaded work of I would almost call it scoping projects.
Identifying
projects.
A lot of which has been being worked on
in
the last year and a half. I mean, I can't say enough times really how great it is that Weston has moved your own progress along so far. You have, leaps and bounds gotten work done, and you're really in a great position to move forward on whatever it is that you want to move forward on.
And that little portion is flood resilience, right?
Whatever you decide to move forward on.
There are other areas,
right,
but
yes.
Yeah, but and you're right, because those things were big items, and but they're limited in terms of the scope. there are other contributing factors like the upslope, water runoff and small stream blockage and things like that, that I think we need to look at in a
Yeah.
broader scheme and get some help with. Otherwise, it'll just compound and probably compromise the efforts that we have going on.
Right, so, and the upcoming meeting on the 27th, one of the things that is on that agenda is to hear from the community about projects that you have identified as things you want to do more work on. And so
And it's
come one,
not,
come all,
Right.
and
and it's not just flood. I will remind you again, it is
Yes.
not just flood. There are two other towns that we should look at that has already like leaps and bounds jumped ahead in the sort of planning process for what they want to see in the future. And I think some of it, I'm just going to throw out one or two. One of them was housing. Another one was childcare facilities. Like there wasn't enough places that had childcare. So it doesn't have to be just flood related once we sort of open this up. And I just simply don't have the time to start anything today, but I do think it's a good
Right.
start.
yes. But, and we don't need to go any further down the road of talking about a long-term planning process tonight. It's just to say that we're available and we're listening to the conversations the Resilience Committee is having, and we're hearing all of Weston's plans for meetings and hearing from the public, and we will be there to hear all of that so that when it comes time for us to really sit down and dig in and work, we will have heard from the Resilience Committee, from the community at large, from you all, and we might not have to have 5 community engagement meetings, because you're already doing a whole bunch of them, which is great. From Mark and I's perspective, you all, you're doing it. And we are here to help you with the parts that you feel you need help with.
Right. I appreciate, stick with us. We're crazy focused on just getting this part done,
Yep.
but I do know that this is a valuable resource and we don't want to waste it. However, there's only so much.
And understood. It's just because things are moving.
Yep.
Again, lines of communication kept
Thank you.
open. Mark, is there anything you want to?
No, I don't think I can top you, Kelly.
I wouldn't try.
I'm happy to. If I could just carry your bags for you, I'm happy. Okay.
Oh, come on now.
No, I'm serious.
And Mark's already working on drawing base maps of
Yep.
village, and we're doing what we can now so that we're ready.
Be prepared.
When you're ready.
Be ready. Mhm.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mark.
Yep.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome. And I won't take up any more of your time.
Yeah.
You're
Have
good.
a great rest of your day.
Stay in touch. Don't lose
Yes.
us.
No,
Stay in
we'll
touch.
not lose you.
right.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Yes,
Have a
thank
good
you.
night.
Bye-bye. You too.
I think somebody wants to review the meeting minutes.
I have a
Okay,
bunch
I'm
of-
so lost. My papers got all jumbled, so hold on, let me.
First one is the 27th.
Yeah, that's the only one I have.
I have the 3rd of December and the 26th.
I'm just gonna need a second here.
A second.
So I got.
Okay.
All right, so let's do the 27th first.
I'm gonna move approval.
Is there a second
A second.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
December 10th.
That's,
There's the sign.
Oh. Sorry.
Uh, Let's see, for the 10th. Because I was looking for a thing where we talked about the three generator RFQ. And we kind of talked around that and we decided, I don't think we decided anything.
no, and I don't think in the minutes it reflects that we were looking for an RFQ for service. Just looks like for 3.
Yeah, sure, RFQ for service of the generators. And what I remember from that discussion was we were thinking about doing a combined RFQ, which I prepared, I had one drafted, but we didn't want to do that because the road crew does their own and we didn't even know who owns the one at the other one. And so we're just kind of wait until later.
Yeah.
So we did not vote on any. We did not
No.
vote to
Yeah.
prepare is what.
So December 10th, this was technically, this meeting right now is technically the next select board meeting from December 10th. The 27th was just that morning meeting that we had. And then honestly, I didn't put it on the agenda because I forgot.
Well, and I think, Howie, you're right. I mean, we talked about it and thought about it and, it's just sort of fizzled away.
I'll put it, I'll add it back in.
Should we? Do we need to? I mean, if the little school is gonna do theirs and the town garage is gonna do theirs, then, I mean.
And do we have one for this one that was kind of on the wait?
No, we were gonna wait till, because we didn't want to pay for it now when it still has 1 year.
Perfect. Can you make a note on that whiteboard thing that in
Yes.
But
6 months we should be talking about?
yeah, probably
September.
3 or 4 now before September. I think you'll wanna, have one in place, before September.
the
Maybe
town
June or
office
something like
generator.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, Howard.
So is there a motion for December 10th?
Oh, I'll move to approve with
Oh, I'll
Howie's
second.
change.
whatever, just for the service of the 3 generators. Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You're gonna write the change in, Sean?
Sure.
Oh.
business maybe, town meeting minutes?
So
He's
we're
asking
gonna-
to put it on
Were we gonna do that tomorrow morning?
Yes, in that,
in the budget meeting.
Oh, okay.
one, yeah, we could.
That was
That's all
the
related.
way I saw it, yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
I'm not gonna be at that meeting tomorrow morning. I have the doctor's appointment in Claremont at 8:15. And not sure when I'm gonna get back. This is a letter from the transfer station and
Yeah, I mean, this is just sort of, it looks to me like a heads up because it's gonna be,
We already paid it, right?
no, well,
this is extra.
This is extra, but they don't mention anything about when it's gonna happen. Electric upgrade in 2025 sometime, and we'll hear about that when it happens, and then compactor in 2026, and the other, this invoice has been the
That's
52.
on your docket.
Oh, okay,
The rest of it,
yeah. So this is just really a heads up.
it's not in the budget. that's all.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't remember, no.
So,
Do I have that? No, okay. I have.
number 10.
I have that.
hold on. She's making a good point. This is heads up, but the first ask part of this
Yeah.
in the
it's
2-year
the 22
timeline is 2025.
Yeah.
So we need to, Shauna, can you make a note for tomorrow's budget meeting that we need to consider this, a portion of this, some sort of a
Yeah,
little fund, a little pot, a little,
well, it's 5,000 is our, we're 20% of that total. Right? And that comes from the last, this sheet here, the Weston is, we're up for,
those are fees and usage. I thought that the upgrade of the,
but aren't they gonna spread that around among all the towns?
yeah,
That's what I'm assuming.
okay, so we're gonna use what? 19%?
Yeah, 19% of 22 to 20, oh, 25 to 30, and that sounds to me like $5,000 more or less.
Yeah, I don't have my calculator. I'm not trusting my brain tonight, so,
Well,
okay, so we
10%
should
is
take a look at that
3,000
tomorrow.
times.
Oh, there you
times
go.
2 is 6,000,
Old
but
school
it'll be a
math.
little bit less than that because that's the maximum. And I'm just figuring we budget
I
5.
trust you. I trust your numbers. You're on fire tonight. Okay, and then the other page to this was the 52 for the transfer station annual
Yeah,
usage.
it's in-
And it is slightly down, isn't it?
It is, last year I think it was 69.
Yeah, okay,
It's in
Wow.
okay.
pay order.
And that's in the pay order
And that's in the
already.
pay order.
That's the
And
only thing I had. That's why I was confused about that part. But that's okay.
finally, have we heard anything about the FEMA?
I was told it was minimal and that was the last I did of it.
Can you make me post a note for that, please?
Minimus, correct, Tim Lee said.
I just think it's accounting that needs to happen. I don't know how you feel, but
Yeah, how's that?
miffed. Ooh. Dang.
Yeah.
All right, now we've got this letter for change in extension of the town grant.
So this is a time extension for the town plan,
Is this the town plan grant or the
Correct.
untapped grant?
town plan.
Oh,
This is, it's due February, the end of February, and if we do make changes, I just am not sure we're going to have enough time. Ask, it was sent it to April 1st. I have not sent in the request yet because I don't know, we are supposed to have a meeting next Tuesday about the town plan. This is just preemptive. On the back though, Annie Fuji signed all the paperwork And she's no longer a part of the planning commission, and she's also not on the select board, so I just need to change the names on the grant, because they're looking for Annie to sign.
I signed the
All
paper
this
last
stuff.
week for
Yeah.
a grant.
Yeah, and then we just have to have that one signed and send it in, but
So if we sign this, you'll fill it in?
yes.
I move we sign it.
Wait,
Because there's somebody on the planning commission is gonna have to
Yeah.
stand in. Gonna have to pick this up.
Correct.
And I think the planning commission should make that decision.
I have asked them, but.
Yeah.
but we have a meeting coming up, so for us to jump ahead of the meeting, I just, then,
Regardless of the meeting, that front letter is
I
just
see.
in case. Regardless, anybody who accepts
So see
the
what.
grant,
right,
Annie's the only signature on the grant for the select board.
got it. You want to get someone
I need to get
else's
Annie's
name
on
off?
and
Okay,
our name.
so
on.
this isn't the extension, this
No.
is,
That's just the
okay.
letter
sorry,
that I have.
sorry,
to sign.
Oh, okay, I
Got
didn't
it.
understand that, so,
okay, we're
but
good.
I'm still gonna move.
We'll move.
Can we sign it?
to
Move to
sign-
sign this in, is that,
Not
everybody
the
happy with that?
extension, what is it called? To change the name from.
Amended
Annie-
resolution
Yeah,
for
amended
that.
resolution, because Annie,
Okay.
like I said, Annie's name is the one that's on it, and she is not in charge of it. So like, when they send us the money, they're looking for Annie's signature.
I guess I didn't get it, but
I
I'm.
second.
Somebody
Well,
on,
yes.
somebody on the planning commission is the one who ought to be,
Yeah,
to be,
oh, can it be a planning commission?
it
Yeah.
has to be a planning commission person,
Oh.
because this is the planning grant.
They said it had to be a select.
Select board member?
Yeah.
And Annie
Oh.
was both,
And
so,
Annie was both.
Oh,
Yeah, because it is signing for the municipality.
yeah. Well, I thought that was on the back, legislative body.
Yeah, that the legislative body of this town has entered into an agreement.
All I can
we had
tell
a
you is
second,
I don't
so-
wanna be the person.
As a select board member, town manager, city manager, et cetera, they become
Could be,
the grant administrator.
it could be somebody on the, planning commission, because it says, or is a select board member.
CEO,
well, if it's just to move the name, then we don't need to worry about it. We can put it on the planning commission, but
We can, yep.
it seems
Does
like
it say
we're,
Say, Jim?
Okay. Legislative entered and agreed to the requirements that somebody who is either the chief CEO or select board member, town manager, city manager, town administrator. My God,
I'm not a town administrator.
the select board
We can make it
administrator.
that.
No, thank you. I live in.
Damn. All right, yeah.
but it is the municipality that is signing this, not a commission.
That's what I was told, was that
Yes.
somebody on the select board had to sign.
That's what it looks like to me.
and I don't have it, so what are we're signing just to change the name as the
Aye.
contact person? Is that
Yeah, I think
fair?
that's what I think this is.
Okay,
And it's only for this last grant that has almost been
For the planning commission,
for the
like I
planning
said,
commission.
I have no
This is
idea about this
back-
grant.
backlook.
This is something that they started apparently before me. All I know is that it's due in the end of February, and I know that if it's up to us, if we're going to have a meeting next week about making changes, then we still have to warn another public meeting and another thing, send it back to the planning commission, warn another public meeting, have the public meeting. It's not gonna be done in time by the end of February.
That's for sure.
I don't feel
I
comfortable
asked the
signing it
commission
without
about it.
Annie. I would love to just get Annie's
Is
ear
there
for
any,
5
is there any
minutes.
detail, any, deadline for filling this thing out?
I would assume February 31st or 28th.
Let's, because Paul
We have a meeting on the
Matt Doppler is gonna be
28th.
there.
We have a budget meeting tomorrow, which is technically budget related, but I don't have enough information.
I am working on very minimal information. I have asked a lot of questions and I haven't really heard back.
With that guy, no? That planning commission guy,
He's the one who sent me the forms.
is he gonna be here at our meeting?
He has a meeting from 6 to 7 with Londonderry and on the 21st, and he said he will zoom in as soon as he's finished with that meeting. So it might not be till 7:15, 7:30, but he's definitely going to try.
Yeah, well, let's talk to him about it then,
Then,
don't you think?
I agree.
Yeah.
It's just like, to me, this would be like signing a blank check. I'm not sure for what. It may be for nothing, but just, it seems, but it is clear that we're the ones that should sign it. Or someone. And then it says must be signed by a majority of the legislative body.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's at the very end.
And then,
Let's get his take on this. Matt's take.
so we either sign this resolution or one that will have the same effect.
I'd like it to be completed before we.
Well, we may be able to take care of that part too.
Yeah, Matt'll be very helpful.
I'll save my comments for then.
Next one is the fourth quarter zoning report.
Oh, that was real good one stuff, right? What number is it? Jeez.
It wasn't.
Six.
No, there's
One or
like
two family homes,
nothing here.
5 additions.
Just for.
Can you just read
Weston.
it aloud, Jim? There's. I
Here,
don't-
you can
Yeah,
look-
yeah.
Oh,
you can
thank
look on it
you,
with me.
thank you.
36
Wait a second.
permits issued in 2024, 2 permit extensions. This is the largest amount of permits since
Sorry.
2010. Oh, you got it.
I found it now.
Yeah,
That's a lot more than I thought.
yeah. I mean, that's 6 new homes and additions,
And the
9
accessory.
accessory structures.
That's because of the new rule at the state. It allowed for like a mother-in-law kind of thing. So
Mhm.
I'm sure that's the uptick there.
Is there a list of what they are? Yeah, there. What they are.
It's for the fourth quarter.
There's only 4 of them on here, so.
For 2024. So this is year,
just fourth
this is for
quarter.
the year.
Yeah, that's front page.
Right.
And that what you got on the second page is.
Just the quarter. Okay.
Mhm.
But the Robin one.
So the weird thing is, oh, single family house. Okay, I get what SH means now.
Oh, this is, yeah, I see.
So the first one is single family, the second one is accessory, single family again, and addition with no bedroom. Got it. Received, reviewed.
Number 12. Another one of these things where they just tell you gotta do it. You get real sick enough than just sending stuff down and say, you've got to do this.
It has to be an employee of the town.
Or legislative body can designate one of its members.
Oh, Shauna.
She does fit the employee
Yeah,
category.
I'm thinking.
This will teach you to put 16 items on the agenda,
I
girlfriend.
tried. Kelly kept looking at me, I said, I told you not to come to this one. You called twice about it.
I'd like to put this on the next meeting, and I'd like to read up on what exactly we would be signing on to, because this is not enough information. And I understand, I know what ethics are, but I'm not responsible for anyone else on this board but myself. And I don't think that
Their VLCT has a nice link that you can look at, excuse me. And they also have a portal to the training.
The training, yes.
And
Do we
basic,
know, do we all have to do the training? And is it, how long is it?
I don't know.
What I read, if it's the one I read, it's 45 minutes long and it has to be done by 9:30.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like I mentioned the other night, after town meeting when we know what we got.
Yeah.
We're gonna have two new select board members, and they might as well enjoy the fun too.
oh yeah, let's share the fun.
Coffee, donuts, put it on the big screen.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Oh,
And,
9 a.m.
No, September.
She said, no, she said, he said 9.
9:30. Yeah.
What time is it? Holy crap.
Easy,
Okay.
Lisa.
Let me look into this, Shauna, because I just want to read up on it. I don't have enough information.
Yeah, because a town employee may be interested in doing that, depending upon what the commitments are for the employee as far as state meetings or whatever. I'm sure
Yeah,
it's
if
all
it's-
done by Zoom.
I assume it's
stuff
like
like that.
telling us how
Or-
to stay in the
yeah,
guardrails.
Yeah, stay within the guidelines. And to have somebody on the that will report to the state if we're not.
Shauna will turn us in. She will turn us in. Okay, so we're gonna do that for the 28th. Okay, got it. Who drafted this lovely select board report
I don't know.
in his spare time?
Yeah. If you guys want to read it later and talk about it tomorrow morning, that's perfectly all right as well.
Yes.
And as you know, I have no pride of authorship, so. It's really nice that the most people that will ever read this thing are sitting right around this room reading it.
Well, it's a lot, Jimmy. Are we gonna get them through here? Do we have 2 pages to give them this?
I think you did last year.
Yeah,
we
2
did
pages
last
too.
year. 2 pages is.
More than enough. I mean, it is enough.
Oh, yeah.
Don't put it through, okay? You're gonna cut you off.
Cut her some slack. She was miffed earlier, so
Yeah.
she's just.
2 pages is more than enough.
Sorry.
I think we're all just so tired. Weird things are just sort of popping out. So.
Well, as I've told you before, Jim, I'm not in favor of removing the dam. Rebuilding the bridge isn't gonna amount to much, so I'm not in favor of removing the dam.
Well, I'm not recommending them one way or the other.
Those are the two that
Those are
are
the
being
two things.
studied. Is what
Yeah,
we're
that's
stating.
what I'm saying.
So by signing it, it would say to people that I'm in favor of it, so I probably wouldn't sign it.
They're being studied. Final stages,
Maybe considered.
anticipate the results late.
Well, the committee
You know.
hasn't even come to the select board yet to
Exactly, yeah.
tell us
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
now know. The study has been done, but we have not been able to sit down
And
in
we've
front
got to
of the
approve it.
select board.
I mean,
Right.
you know, there's gonna come a time when we have to approve it or not. And the bridge.
And we
since
don't
that's
have to.
ours, And we don't have to.
And we don't have to.
And
Which if
and the
approved,
dam
then you say
is
that.
up to the
So this
WCA.
is, yeah.
I think in my first perusal, I say it's great the way it is. It is not overstated anything, and we did not get behind any one particular thing.
Yeah.
But I will do a quick reread for tomorrow.
Talk to me tomorrow.
Okay.
You're gonna have 2 pages. I think a little something should be added to that. We've had, lack of a better word, a battle trying to find replacement road crew. We've tried all summer to get a new road foreman, which we have a temporary one, and we do have 2 new people at the present time, which
Maybe we don't talk about the struggles we have, but could we add a one-liner to introduce our 2 new?
That should absolutely.
Yeah, and
absolutely
while,
be there.
while
That's
we
a
continue
oversight on my
to
part.
search for a full-time road foreman.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
That, you know, we'd like to welcome the 2 new members of the
Yeah.
road crew, Seth and.
you want to write that
Perfect.
paragraph?
Yeah, sure.
No. Did you just say yes? God, I'll take you up on that.
He's tired too. He just said yes to that.
Yeah, I'll add something about the road crew.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll,
And I'll send it to Shauna,
Yeah.
so it can get added into this.
Okay.
Howie.
And I'll just add it at the end somewhere,
Oh, hold on.
or I'll just write a
So
paragraph.
Benny
and
won't be
You
here
can stick it in.
tomorrow
No.
for this meeting, and it does require signatures. You need it tomorrow, right? We're creeping up on the 20th tomorrow.
So.
I
signatures
suggest
from
adding
Denny, if
that
he's okay
paragraph
with
right
stuff.
there, but
Yeah.
you can put it
Yeah.
anywhere you want.
No, yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I'll
want
just send
that
it
to
in. She
get
can
to
stick
you
it there.
before the 20th when you have to.
Well, it'd be nice if we could get everything signed. ahead of
Oh, except I
time.
need their names.
Okay.
Oh,
I have it in the pay order.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'll get it out of there.
Perfect.
and Tom.
So I don't spell Orin wrong or something like that.
Got it.
If there are things that you need to stop in and sign, Friday is certainly fine. I
okay,
can leave them out.
I've canceled this appointment twice. It's for melanoma. And
Oh, yeah, not a good.
Don't cancel.
You can cancel it again.
so
Yeah, we'd like you to continue showing up.
So, now we have the mileage report. It's a standard thing. We didn't change anything.
And I'll fill it in. But all the numbers just transfer right over.
Yeah. I'm gonna move, we sign it. Need a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
We have a pay order for $25,500 or $356.19. Want to second it? Move along.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
We have accounts payable, $126,162.64.
I'll second.
Move approval. About that. You said, 102,369.59.
No, 126,162.
What am I missing?
162.64.
You're going too far back. Look at page 3, the second, yeah.
Top says 505.
Okay, there are too many page 3s here.
It was page 5. It's there somewhere.
Oh,
1 of 5.
okay. Yeah, so I'm moving approval of $126,162.64.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye. And nobody even asked about the lawyer bill. Snuck that one through.
I'm sure there will be more.
Yeah.
And then we have last year's 10-minute meeting that there's a big sign that says please sign. Old business.
Today's day is just fun. I mean, it is what it is. That was a lot.
Yeah, those two. Oh, right, sorry. It's payroll.
Yeah.
All right, do we want to sign this one for Kim?
You can keep that. I'll stick it in there.
Okay.
Yes, I got that via email. I don't see it in my file, but I'm too tired to.
And
Sure, it's here.
Jeff is acting as both the road foreman and his road commissioner or
Right.
whatever
Yeah.
that position is, right? I just want to put something in there about that. Yeah.
All those in favor, or motion to sign the
Sorry.
10 minutes, meeting of 24 10 minutes.
Yep.
Second.
All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye. What is today, the 15th?
14.
14. Yeah. I go to that last page.
When they're doing old business, anybody got anything? Kim?
I talked to the auditor. That was done tomorrow about how to handle that chunk of money that got moved into the general fund at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, tomorrow it is.
New business. Do we have a letter of resignation from Chris? Should we have for paperwork?
So,
I
yeah.
think so.
It's stated in the minutes.
That's probably, yeah, that's probably.
Or is that not sufficient if he announces or?
It's one piece of paper. You could email it to him. I'm sure he'll sign it and scan it and email it back to you. I think we should have something for him.
Yeah.
And do you need anything from me?
I would say let's do the same
Your
thing.
term
Can we
is
do
up.
My
One
term
more
is
thing.
expiring.
Yeah.
So you're just not
I'm
running.
choosing
You're
not
just
to
not gonna
run.
Oh,
run.
okay.
Okay,
You'll finish out until,
That's right.
Town
And I'll sit at town meeting.
right.
Till the completion of town meeting and then, because I'll be back by then.
Okay, now I guess we gotta go into executive session for.
can we, before we do that part of old business, we went through new delinquent tax collector, but we do have a delinquent tax report that we didn't review.
I didn't see that.
I didn't either. Is that in there? I thought I cleaned all that stuff out.
I did too, but I must have missed it.
Under
Is it
five.
dated in January this year, Lisa?
I don't know, it was in my packet, it 12/1.
See, what,
12.
Oh, okay, that's from December.
Yeah.
Okay,
we've seen that already, right? Okay.
okay, it was in my thing, so just wanted to receive and review,
Oh, we may know.
but it's old,
Yeah, we saw that one.
old.
Yeah, that was the problematic there, I think.
Thanks, Kim. Stern date gets the best of me. Were we going in?
Stopped.
Yeah.
Under
Personnel.
personnel.
So I
Okay.
move we go into executive session, to discuss personnel.
I'll second.
Much.
Stuff you want to sign before.
Is this yours or? Otherwise, I'm
No,
gonna toss
that
it
was just
back
on the
here.
table.
Good night, Ken, thanks.